Hello, Central New York, and hello, hockey fans all across the internet, and welcome to the Central New York Hockey Report podcast right here on the Studio 25 Podcast Network. I'm your host, Scott Kinville, and boy, do we have a fun show lined up. This is our guest today is just one of my favorite people in hockey to talk to. We're going to have a great time. And before I bring him in, of course, I want to bring in my crew, my motley crew, if you will. Immediately to my right is the producer, Mr. Dave the Save Warner. How you doing?
You want me to have some of that music queued up? I can do that too, Motley Crue. Or,
yeah,
I could do that.
Of course, I don't know if that would really work out too well with music rights and all that.
Oh, there's that.
You would foot the bill on that one.
Yeah, I have been so far.
Yeah. There you go.
That was for Jordy.
Yeah. And speaking of Jordy, there he is, our co-host, coming to us live via satellite, Mr. Jordan Brockway. What's up, buddy?
Nothing much, just the setup's figured out. There wasn't many technical issues this time, so hopefully everything stays smooth.
I am proud of you. Last week had a little bit of technical difficulty, but you got the lighting figure out. You look great. It's awesome.
Except that he's got something behind him on the wall there. Does that say that it's the little things, or is that something different?
Oh, yeah, we had to get that out already.
I wish.
Yeah.
There's one of those floating around somewhere.
Yeah. We'll explain that one in a little while, but right now I want to bring in our guest. He is the head coach of the Morrisville women's hockey team, Mr. John Briggs. Coach, how are you?
Good. How are we doing?
I am fantastic. How was your off season?
Yeah, it was good. Busy. I think everyone's excited to get going here, so it feels good to be back.
Oh, no doubt about it. Summer's nice. It's great to have that time off, but, right around September, that itch comes back, and then it's okay, when's October? When's it starting? We're into November. We're here. And, boy, I'll tell you what, your team is certainly off to a great start, 2-0 with 2 wins on the road this past weekend against Stevenson. Got to be feeling good about that, Coach.
Yeah, you know what? It felt great to get out there. Like I said, we were just so excited to be back, and definitely a nice long road trip for us. We don't do many around that 6-hour mark, so we were out there a little bit for us. But definitely a great weekend, especially how we won that first game, down 2-1 with about 33 seconds to go and scoring 2 goals in the last 33 seconds to win in regulation. It was a good fight back there too.
Yeah, absolutely. Take us through that moment, because you know what? Those are the types of things that a team can really build on, especially playing first game of the season like that.
Yeah, no. So a lot that we talk about leading up to this season is how to act and operate as a program, and making sure that one of our key points is being resilient. So down 2-1, there's lots of opportunities last year. We practiced our 6-on-5, and we were really trying to, continue to grow that skill. Definitely struggled last year, so it was nice to see it work right away. Once we got that second goal and kind of, in our minds, opened that game up a little bit more. Finally got one past the goalie, who was just absolutely playing fantastic for Stevenson. It was kind of a jolt for us. So, that next shift got one deep and really got right to work after that. So it felt good to win it. And it was actually with 0.2 seconds left was the official call.
That is awesome. That really is. And, it was the Stevenson Mustangs, and, I put out a tweet, or whatever you want to call it, a post. There's only room for one Mustang in women's Division III hockey, and it's the Morrisville Mustangs.
Yeah, no, it felt great. We were making the same joke, Battle of the Mustangs. I think they were kind of advertising it that way too. But no, they're going to have a great year this year over in Stevenson. They really competed at such a high level.
No doubt about it. So, you're coming into your second year now. You got that 1 year under your belt. What are some of the things that you were thinking coming into this season that maybe you wanted to change a little bit or keep the same?
One of our biggest difference will be our roster size this year. We had a lot of returning girls, but last year, if you remember, we had quite the small roster. I think it was, we hovered around that 13, 14 skater mark for majority of the year. So even though we didn't lose a lot, we're up to that 18 skater mark. Got a little bit more depth in us now, and kind of take it to teams in a different level this year. Really focus on continuing to be more aggressive, and it's going to be a different side of us that I think that we really couldn't play at that aggressiveness level last year.
And that's huge too, because the ladies, they played their hearts out every game. We all know that. But, when you have such a small roster size like that, once you start getting into the third period, especially getting into that second half of the season, listen, we're only human, and you're bound to wear down. But now that you have a larger roster size, like you said, that second half and those third periods, they're going to be a little more fresh.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think majority of last year, if you go through our games, you'll definitely see that back to back, that second game, we were playing great coming into that third period, and then we entered that third period, and it was definitely for us, the worst period of our weekend, because of the short roster and just so much ice time, which is fantastic for the girls. Great way to learn and grow at a quick rate, but obviously it presents its struggles as well. So being able to come into weekends knowing that we got a little more depth ready to go it puts me at ease a lot. I'm sure the girls are quite happy about it as well.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And looking at this roster size, not only is it larger, but you have a roster now that's actually a bit more experienced. It was kind of a young roster last year, but now I'm looking at this and I'm seeing senior, junior, senior, sophomore. This is a great opportunity for you to have a very strong leadership group, especially with all those seniors and juniors available.
Yeah, no, and we already see that. We're fortunate to have all four of our captains coming back as well. So not only do we have about 9 seniors, 4 of them are captains for us. So it's not only an extra year of experience, for them being a captain, but it's an extra year of experience for how I like to operate this team and how we can support each other and kind of bounce ideas off each other to help us be successful. So from a leadership standpoint, for sure, it's definitely nice to come in and yes, have a lot returning. Yes, bring in some new girls, but really continue to develop those those focal points we were using last year and continue to develop them.
Yeah, that's for sure. And like I said, but with that leadership in place, the sky's really the limit for the Morrisville Mustangs because I don't know. Like I'm telling you right now, and I'm not saying this just because we're friends and you're the coach. I really like how this roster's made up. I think your team's really got a chance to make some noise.
Yeah, you know what? Not to get ahead of myself, but I definitely agree. I think our girls are excited this year. There's definitely a different feel. Going back to last year, real quick again, we had that 14 skaters. Some games we had as low as 11 or 12 due to injuries and sickness and stuff like that. And still with that, we were competing against some of these big teams in our league and outside of our league. Whether it be Cortland, Plattsburgh, obviously Canton's a fantastic team. We just saw them take a game off of number 2 Adrian in their opening weekend. And we came away with 2 games last year from that set. So going back to last year, it was a great year. But there's a lot to build off of. As much as I think we've gotten a lot better, I think the league continues to grow as well. Again, opening weekend, all 7 SUNYAC teams were in play. And I think we finished with a combined record of maybe 11-2, which included knocking off the number 2 team in the nation and Plattsburgh knocking off another ranked team in Norwich. So and all in all, it's a fantastic league. It's a great opportunity for us, but I think we could definitely take that next step, but we got to be ready to play these tough teams because in and out of league, we really have a really difficult schedule.
No doubt about that. Looking at the SUNYAC alone, you're right. It's gotten so much better. It used to be, obviously coming from Cortland, that's always been a powerhouse program. Naturally, Plattsburgh's always been a powerhouse program. But the league as a whole is getting much better. Oswego's improved. You mentioned Canton. They're really starting to come out of nowhere. So, but I think that's a really good thing for the Mustangs because to be able to play that kind of competition within the conference is only going to make the team better.
Oh yeah, for sure. And with that competition, all 6 teams, all 18 games in league being so competitive and strong, it really allows us to build that competitive non-league schedule as well. So it's not just in league that we're going to get the tested. As early as, obviously Stevenson was a great set. But, as early as next week on Saturday, we're heading out to play Nazareth in Rochester. So that's going to be a fantastic matchup. And that's kind of how our schedule's built this year. Lots of games against ranked teams in and out of league. And then obviously, like we keep mentioning, the SUNYAC is it's a whole different animal this year. I always say it. I really do believe it. I think it's the strongest league in the nation for Division III women's hockey. I don't even think it's close in my opinion.
And you must have read my mind. I think you truly did, because I was just going to mention that non-conference schedule. The Mustangs certainly are not taking it easy on the non-conference route. You just mentioned Nazareth; they're number 12 in the country, and you're heading out to Rochester to play them. So a great test early. By the way, I do want to let you know that I don't think anybody in Central New York likes Nazareth. So I think as a whole, Central New York's going to be going go Mustangs this weekend. Little scouting report on Nazareth.
Listen, I'm pretty close with the Nazareth coaching staff, and a bunch of girls we recruited, actually, that we were trying to get, ended up going to Nazareth. So we got a good feel for their incoming class. That's going to be an impactful class for them, for sure. But it's going to be a good test. I mean, they're obviously a great team. They have a long track record of making the NCAA's. They find ways to win games, and that's always something that we strive for. Again, going back to last weekend, I come into the locker room after that first game, and we talk about how difficult it is to win games at the NCAA level, right? That resilience that we needed, and that great teams find a way to win hockey games regardless of how you're playing. That's Nazareth for you. They understand how to win games, how to shut them out, and how to, when push comes to shove, get them cross that line with the win. So it's going to be a really tough matchup, but it's one we're excited for. Like I said, we gotta prepare for the toughest league in the nation, and to do that, we really need to build our non-league schedule to prepare us for the best way possible. Because after Nazareth, we jump right in, and we play two really big teams, both who receive votes for the top 15 in the nation.
Yeah, that'd be in Oswego and Canton, and then looking even further ahead at your schedule. I mean, like I said, you certainly are not taking it easy. You got Hamilton College coming in, and they're 9-10, depending on which
Yeah.
poll you're looking at. They're coming in on November 26th, and then right after that, you go right back to another SUNY game against Plattsburgh, and of course Williams. I mean, they play in a NESCAC conference that's extremely tough as well. So again, this schedule is not an easy one, but I'll tell you something. You pick up a few wins out of that. Next thing you know, you're talking about Morrisville maybe knocking on the door being top 15.
Yeah, that's obviously the goal. With the tough schedule, obviously there's those pros and cons. But as much as I would love to take some wins and be ranked in the top 15, that's definitely not exactly what we're focused on first and foremost. Our focus goes by game. Obviously, like I said, we'd love to be in that ranking and in that discussion, but there's also something about Morrisville always trying to be the underdog. Lots of teams, kind of undervaluing us, and kind of putting us below them. And I think our girls play with the chip on their shoulder because of that. I think it's something that, whether it be the SUNYAC as a whole, whether it be, us at Morrisville, it's something that we take and run with, understanding that, yeah, we're a great team. Yeah, teams want to beat us, but at the same time, I don't think anybody last year and so far this year is giving us the respect that I think the girls want and deserve.
And that's a great motivator.
Yeah, for sure. As much as, like, we talk about with the SUNYAC, I mean, pre-ranking polls, they come out, and we sit fifth out of seven. And as much as we say that we're in such a strong conference, it probably could have gone any way in the top four, top five. All the way down to 6-7. Like we said, we had great matchups against Potsdam as well last year. But I think our girls, they're ready to prove people wrong, not only in league but out of league as well. So Nazareth is going to be a tough test. We go and play some play a pair of NESCAC games as well as that. I think we're really itching for that competition against some of these top 15 teams in the nation to show what we can do, and kind of, how we've prepared for these games and these moments with our older class, with our big leadership group, and just kind of with that itch to prove people wrong.
Yeah, it's certainly no better way to prove it either. That's for sure. So last year I came out and I covered the Make-A-Wish game, and what a fantastic experience that was. That was so great. The special uniforms, having the kids on the ice, great time, great event. Tell us a little bit about this year's game.
Yeah, so actually, exciting news. The Make-A-Wish jerseys are here. They just got here today.
Cool.
So we're pumped to get them out, and the girls are all excited to see them. But our game will be November 22nd. We take on Buff State, and we're really excited for it. actually that weekend after we play on that Friday, and that weekend, that Saturday, Sunday, we're actually hosting a youth tournament, a 19U tournament. So we'll have about 8 teams coming in, and they'll get to experience that game as well. And again, it's just all about raising that awareness for Make a Wish. So we're super excited and pumped for it. Obviously, last year the game didn't fall our way. I think that the scoreline was a bit tough for how we played. I don't think it really reflected the game itself, but that's how hockey works sometimes, right?
Sure.
And I think this year we're excited for it to be another SUNYAC team, continue that high competition, hopefully come out with a better result. But at the end of the day, that's not what it's about, right? So getting that awareness out. We do a lot of work with Make a Wish. Actually, at the beginning of the year, we went out and helped um, fulfill a Make a Wish, and we had about a dozen girls out there building a basketball court, and it's just we really want to be involved with them. So we're excited for this game. We're excited to raise that awareness and continue to build upon what we did last year with that game.
Well, that is such a fantastic thing you guys do. It really is, and proud of you, because I mean that's fantastic. And that's really what hockey's all about, right? Because
Yeah.
we battle it out on the ice, and there's all that, but really at the end of the day, I'm telling you, hockey players, hockey teams have the biggest hearts of anybody in the world. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, I love to hear that. I think you're spot on. We all our girls understand we're in a fortunate position, and we have that ability to help people day in and day out, and it's something we take really seriously here. So Make a Wish is just kind of it's definitely one of the bigger things we do, but it's just a small piece of everything that we do for the community, for the school, for anything that we can do to help anybody.
No doubt about it. All right, so here we go. I'm going to give you a chance to do a recruiting pitch. All right, so if you were to talk to any young hockey player looking for a place to play college hockey, why would they want to come to Morrisville?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that for us specifically, we've created a culture that you want to be a part of. I think that there's an unprecedented excitement with our recruits. We have a lot more recruits reaching out to us this year than last year. A lot more interest. We even have some early commits this year, whereas last year a lot of our commits came pretty late into the process. So I'm really happy with where we're at. But for our recruiting pitch in general, it all comes from a cultural side of it. That's really what I talk about with every single recruit I get on the phone with. We focus on culture, whether it be weekly, daily, monthly meetings with certain individuals, certain groups of people. That's how we built it. That's how we had our success last year. I know it might sound a little cheesy, but I'm a big believer. You do the right things off the ice, then the right things on the ice are gonna happen. There's really no better way to put it. So from that cultural side, we really have been succeeding in the recruitment department, and that's what we're excited to keep pushing. Keep pushing the limits with the culture. How can we continue to grow it, even if it is a fantastic culture? What can we do to continue to push it? And then obviously that competitiveness side of what we build as a program, that schedule, like we talked about a bit. I mean, we haven't even and hopefully I'm reading your mind again, but we haven't even talked about that the tournament we're hosting in January, and that's going to be a lot of fun as well. And again, you get 3 teams in that have all competed in the NCAA's. 3 teams, and then us who hopefully we're biting at that door to do so this year.
I do want to talk about that tournament. I'm glad you said that. So, because right, January 10th and January 11th, this is going to be big, because this is a great thing to have other teams coming into the Iceplex, and we really want to get that publicized. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so no, we're really excited. This is our first tournament we're hosting, right? Next year we already have it all pretty much set out. So we're excited for this to be a pretty annual thing, something that we look forward to every year. But this year it's gonna be ourselves, Western New England, who won their league, competed in the NCAA's. Nazareth, who we know, we see them on Saturday. They're fantastic, and then Elmira, who
Oof.
finished second in the nation last year. So it's going to be a fantastic tournament. Our goal is to build that tournament to be as strong as possible. Get the teams in that are going to, bring us the best test and allow us to compete at the highest level and see the best teams we can. So it's a lot of excitement, a lot of good teams coming in next year. Although it's not finalized, we got a lot of good. Our 3 teams that we're hoping come in will be just as good, better even. So it's going to be a fun thing that we look forward to every year.
That is really awesome. And, there's no better way to put a tournament on the map than to have the high quality of opponents that you've got coming in. So that is wonderful. I've always said, wouldn't like an all Central New York tournament be so much fun?
I know. You know what? It's the Central New York itself is just so crazy competitive. It really would be a great time. So, that's actually a great idea. That's something that we might have to look into, especially with us surrounding with so many different leagues within such a short area.
He pushes it every year, Coach. Don't worry about it. He pushes it every year.
I always talk about it, but that's,
Eventually, somebody's got to eat the hook.
Hey, no, I like it. And listen, next year, talking about the SUNYAC being difficult, it gets even more difficult with William Smith coming into it. So
sure.
We're looking for even more non-league games next year. So maybe it's something we try to put together.
There we go.
Sponsored right here.
I was just going to say, yeah. So in the meantime, maybe I'll hit the lottery and I can sponsor it. That's it,
Hey, I'm liking the sound of this.
Yeah. The money always talks, Scott.
Yeah, well, then I guess my mic just went dead. That's it.
You want to see that happen, Coach? I can make it happen.
No, don't do that. Oh, my goodness. Well, Coach, this has been a fun time, as always. We love having you on the program. At Nazareth this coming Saturday. Next Friday, you open up at home against Oswego. That's a 3:00 game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great test, and our girls are excited. 3:00 for us. The men play at 7:00, so it'll be a fun-filled day for both of our opening nights to be on the same day. We talked about it, and not to continue to loop back to it, but the SUNYAC is just so difficult, and Oswego is one of those teams that make it even more difficult. The way they grow, their roster. Talk about experience; they have a lot of experience as well. So. It's going to be a fantastic game.
And, of course, they're one of those Central New York teams like we were just talking about. So the competitive web of Central New York hockey, of course. So
you got to love it, though, right? It makes
absolutely
makes you want to compete at that level and push your own boundaries.
No doubt about it. Well, Coach, thank you for taking the time to come on and talk to us. We really appreciate it. And I promise you I will get out to one of those games at some point here. So, but we love having you on the show, and we appreciate you taking the time.
Awesome. Hey, thank you guys. It was a lot of fun. And, I'm looking forward to hopefully being invited back sometime soon.
Anytime you want to come on, you are more than welcome, my friend. No doubt about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
All righty. Thank you. Take care.
You too.
See you, Coach.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, that was Coach John Briggs. That was a fun conversation. He's such a fun guy to talk to.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I think we're going to take a commercial break here. And when we come back, we're going to take a look at, like that last week we talked about the men's UCHC and SUNYAC. We're going to finish that conversation with the women when we come back, where we talk about Utica and Oswego. We'll see you in a minute.
Visit My Little Falls and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the city and the area. Our mission is to generate interest in the community and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes store, listen to our country music streaming radio station, or sign up for a weekly newsletter. Stop by today at mylittlefalls.com. You'll be glad you did.
All right, and we are back to talk about Utica and Oswego. Jordy, I think we're going to start with Utica. Utica came into the preseason ranked number 13. Last weekend, they won their Utica University kickoff tournament for the second year in a row, and that bumps them up to number 11 in both polls, the USCHO and the D3 Hockey News. Great win on Saturday over Elmira. That was an overtime win, too. Sort of reminded me of, with the Adrian win last year. It was almost like a mirror image of the tournament, right? But, I tell you something. This Pioneer team can make some noise as well.
Yeah, and I remember I was more keeping track of the men's games over in Adrian and doing that. And then
that was a busy weekend.
Yeah, I had busy days between that and after those games. You kind of go, where's the rest of my day going to go? And then you kind of find something. Well, when I looked at the women's score, when I saw they beat Elmira, I went, wait a minute, they did what? I had to stop everything I was doing and look into it. I was a little surprised.
Typo.
Yeah. I totally kind of forgot about that until you mentioned it. That weekend last year, that was really tough because I was trying to cover both games, and I'm running back and forth between the Adirondack Bank Center and the Nexus Center. I mean, I'm basically out of breath by the third period. What is this? I just stayed at the Nexus Center. I said, Jordy's over at the men's game. I says, I know he'll fill in.
Well, I remember because I ran into you and you're like, oh yeah, I'm running back and forth. And I was like mystified.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was like, I can only handle one game. If I was going back and forth between two, I'd be like, after 2 periods, no, I can't go back and forth anymore.
Yeah, but I tell you, though, this year's team, the Pioneers, it looks pretty good so far. Angela Hawthorne's back in goal. She's playing her graduate student year, which is going to be huge for them. But I tell you, in looking at I watched the games on the streaming there, and this year's Pioneers team kind of seems like it's a little bit more committed to defense. Last year was kind of a run and gun. It was exciting hockey to watch, no doubt about it. But it looks like that they're kind of committing themselves a little bit to playing a little bit tighter defense. What do you think?
Yeah, and I checked in a little bit and watched a little bit here and a little bit there, kind of around where the scores are, which isn't the best way to watch a game. But I just wanted to see a little bit of how the game went because that'll give you a general feel. And I agree. It seems like they take more of a defensive kind of game. It makes sense because a run and gun, your only problem is if you allow more goals in your offense, just disintegrates. You kind of lose that advantage. But with a defensive, you can just say, we need 1 or 2, and that's enough.
Right. And, of course, this is Melissa Lamonto's first year at the helm. So, I mean, maybe that was part of her thing coming in. I want to try to implement a little bit more of a defensive style of game. They did lose a few players off the roster, though, to graduation. So, like Carolyn Whitney, Erica Sloan comes to mind. That's for sure. Those are huge losses right there. That's a big part of your offense gone. But still, they really just kind of didn't really seem to miss a beat. And so, I don't know. I think this is Maggie Rylott, too. I forgot about her. So I really think, though, that with this new style of play, it's really going to help them, especially going into conference play, right? Because that's really more of a game like Naz plays. They're more of a defensive style team. Mm-hmm. And so now you still got some of that offensive firepower in Utica, but they're going to be able to play the lockdown defense game, too.
Yeah, and that does a lot when you have a very experienced graduate goalie in net, and you can just say, you're already really good. You know the game. We're going to rely on you on the defensive end and play more to your strengths instead of a run and gun, which may leave you hanging here and there and give you maybe 2-3 breakaways that kind of leave you out to dry.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I'm looking at this schedule, and, we were talking with Coach Briggs about Morrisville having a more difficult schedule. The big knock against Utica in past years was, how they played an easy UCHC schedule, that kind of thing. Looking at this schedule this year, I think that knock's gone because, obviously they're going to be playing Naz 4 times this year. First games are, in a couple weeks, November 22nd and 23rd. Then they go and play in the Sunshine Turkey Classic down in Florida. Now, get a load of some of the teams in here. You got Norwich, Adrian, and Trinity. So you've got very tough teams there. And then they come back home and they play Middlebury, who's number 4 in the nation right now. That's in December. And then the next week they play Hamilton. So, there's a lot of competition. They got SUNY Canton as a non-conference game. Oswego, they're a non-conference game. They've both received votes. So really, the Pioneers, if they're the same boat, if they can put together some wins, that's really going to raise the profile.
Yeah, and especially when you play those teams going into the middle and the late of the season, those ranked matchups matter more because if you knock one of the big things with the men's team is you play Adrian early. That's great, and it gives you a very good benchmark. But at the end of the season, that game's not really going to matter. You play those ranked teams more in the middle and the end, it matters a lot more. because you know what both teams really are.
Right. Well, exactly. There's no doubt about that. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen here. So we've got Morrisville at 2-0, Utica at 2-0, and now right up the road, Oswego. The Lakers, they're 2-0. They beat William Smith in both games last weekend, identical 2-1 scores. So when I was filling in the score ticker, I was like, wait a minute, which one is it? Oh, okay. But they did win. They won their home opener. Obviously, it was a home-and-home series, and it was their teal game, which is always a great thing that they do up there in Oswego. I love those teal jerseys that they have for those games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's crazy to think that all these local teams are going, we're going to win, and we're going to start strong. It's great for the state because you look around and you go, there's so many talented teams. Where did this all come from?
Right, exactly. But looking at Oswego's schedule, same thing, right? This is the Central New York hockey, man. This is just becoming so fantastic. They're a loaded schedule as well. Now, of course, they're in the SUNYAC, so they're going to be like Morrisville. They're going to be playing a lot of intra-conference competition that's going to be very tough. They got Canton Friday night. That's at home. And then, of course, they go to Morrisville the following weekend for the big Morrisville-Oswego showdown. But then looking further down the road, you got Plattsburgh, Cortland. Of course, those are SUNYAC games. And then you go out of conference for Hamilton. See, this is what I'm talking about, right? Because Utica plays Hamilton, Oswego plays Hamilton, Morrisville plays Hamilton. Darn it, why not? Let's just have a tournament.
I knew it was coming.
That would be awesome.
Dave, we have got to figure out a way to raise the money to sponsor this thing.
You never know.
Do I wonder if I sold some blood or if there was an organ I could sell? I don't know.
Yeah. You can do it.
That's how badly I want to see this tournament happen.
Your soul has a price.
No, it doesn't. No. I'd have to pay somebody for that.
He's knocking at the door.
Yeah, saying, where's my money? But looking further down the road, I mean, they're playing Utica. That's going to be in Utica at the Nexus Center. So, and then what a humdinger of a finish for the schedule for them. I mean, they got Canton twice, Morrisville twice, and then they close the season with 2 games against Cortland. So there you go. Once again, same boat that Morrisville's in, same boat that Utica's in. You get some big wins against these big high-profile names that are already ranked or knocking on the door. That puts your program right on the map.
Yeah, and that'll slingshot you into your conference tournament. And if you play well there against these same teams, you get that shot for that NCAA D3 tournament, which puts you even more on the map.
Right. Because, I mean, that's going to be – the SUNYAC's going to be a really tough conference to win. You know, when you got Platte in there, when you got Cortland in there. I mean, anything can happen when you get into the tournament. And, by the way, they're playing Amherst as well. So, I mean, jeez. You know, you want to talk about loading up your schedule with some competition to make sure your team's ready. Well, there you go. I mean, that's basically what it is. But looking at their roster, you know, they got a nice mix here of experience and freshmen. They returned Lexi Levy, who's their goaltender, standout goaltender. Mac Hall's back. I like this roster, you know, and I think, like I said, with this SUNYAC conference. This is a roster that looks like it's built for that conference.
Mm-hmm. And when you have a roster that's built like that, where it's very evenly stacked of like you have a mix of young talent plus your experienced veterans, that opens the door for however you want to play during the season. And it also sets you up for the future to go a lot of different ways, whether you want to go senior heavy or freshman heavy. So there's a lot of ways you can go at that in the future, and it helps you now because you can do so many different things against these very tough teams.
Well, and you're going to need that flexibility, right? That's the key is having that flexibility to be able to do those kind of things. So yeah, like I said, this is exciting times. This really is in Division III hockey here in Central New York, and I can't wait. This is going to be such a fun season. It really is. And by the way, I do want to thank you for doing the live tweeting duties for me on Sunday there. I know you usually do that anyway. At JordyFighter14 for Utica Pioneers games. This is the go-to guy because he's actually figured out how to put the video in too. He records the video off the stream, and he puts it into his tweet. So good job, my friend.
Hey, that's all easy stuff. I was like, this year I'm going to actually put it together and just do it.
There it is, the word of the day. I'm telling you, I said it last week. I still think it reminds me of Pee-wee's Playhouse when they used to do the word of the day and everyone just screamed. We just need that little robot that he had running around here.
No, I can look for it.
But
yeah, it's nice because I'm watching the game. I'm going, well, especially for home games when I get annoyed at the refs because they were really bad the last home game more than ever. May as well just put it out there. Why not?
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, so anyways, like I said, hockey season is just about in full swing here. Hamilton College, the NESCAC, will be starting in a couple weeks, so we'll be talking about them as we get closer to the start of their season. Like I said, we wanted to talk about these teams right now because they are playing. They're out there getting it done, and they're all undefeated. So fantastic, fun times here in Central New York hockey, and we just can't wait for the rest of the season.
Yeah, if only they all could stay undefeated all season, that would be awesome.
Yeah, even though that would be kind of impossible because they're playing each other all the time.
Yeah.
But again, it's that tournament. We got to get that tournament going. We'll have to start a hashtag or something. Help us start a tournament. I don't know. Anyways,
could work.
Yeah, there you go. But anyways, Jordy, thanks for coming on here. Short notice, like I said. I mean, as usual, I forgot to let you know, and that's you're always there for us. We appreciate
you can do hashtag CNY hockey tournament.
You know what? I started a hashtag for CNY hockey.
Yeah, I'll put
hashtag CNY hockey.
CNY hockey tournament.
Hey, there you go.
There you go.
That could be our thing.
Yeah.
That could be our thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There we go. We now have homework. All right. All right. Well, that's all we got. We want to thank, once again, John Briggs, head coach of Morrisville Women's Hockey, for coming on. And we want to thank you for watching and listening. We really appreciate it. Make sure you follow us on the Studio 25 Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts. And we will see you next week. Thank you.